Hello, hello, and welcome to today's episode of the Heartfelt Conversations. How are you, Despina? How are you feeling today? We have some idea. We have an idea what to offer today, but let's start with how are we feeling?
I'm feeling grateful because in the morning we haven't had any water for a few days now. And I'm feeling grateful because when you have these moments, you realize that what you take for granted cannot be granted, you know?
Yes, this is, these moments are really very important moments, and it's about a mindset shift to learn to look at things like that. Now that you said it, I remembered several years ago, I think 5 years ago, when I injured myself so severely, and the whole night I couldn't sleep from the pain, but I immersed myself while I was in such a strong pain. I was so connected with gratitude for being alive because I realized that, okay, I hurt my finger, but I'm still alive. I'm here, I'm breathing. I can move all my limbs. I can see, I can hear. The funny thing was next day when I went to see the doctor, she couldn't believe how fast the wound healed
Yeah.
over
Oh,
this whole night. I don't, do you remember what I think I was sharing with you as well as in some of our close circles about this connection? And I saw this space and the golden letters, infinite health. So it
mm,
was very surreal experience, but it was provoked exactly from this particular challenging moment because it was incredible pain and for quite a long time without any painkillers, without anything. And how can we relate this to the topic
yeah.
of what we
Well,
said?
we have challenges, we have struggles. You know, some people call it struggles, some people call it challenges, depends on the vibration of the words. And for me, this, let's say, 2 days was I was trying to make things perfect, like, you know, have the perfect bathroom, even though it was not possible. I couldn't clean the sink very well. And I was struggling and I was pushing myself too much. And then my husband said, but we don't have any water. Like, why don't you give yourself some slack? And I'm like, oh, you're right.
Yes, yeah. This is what we were talking about, bringing into the conversation, pressuring ourselves, pushing ourselves. And I have a particular reason to want to talk about it, but I'm sure that everyone from our listeners can relate to that because pressing, pushing, trying to live up to our own expectations as well as to the expectations or the high standards of the people around us, this takes so much energy, psychological energy, psychic energy, physical energy, emotional energy, and all the disappointment and all the judgment and this not being good enough or failing again. This is so possible. We kind of create space for all these inner critical voices to appear when we push ourselves to do something which is maybe beyond our capacity. Maybe our body is not ready. Maybe our mind is not ready. Maybe it's not the right time. But we see someone else, we compare, and we decide, okay, I can do it too. I can achieve that too. I would love to hear and read from our audience what is one aspect or one area of your life where you feel you're pushing yourself too much.
Mhm. I think, you know, for me, and I want to hear from our viewers as well. For me, was when I started a few years ago, trying to get a different approach to teaching. I would have to study for so many hours. I would have to look into so much different material than I was used to. And because I wanted to be a better teacher for my students, I would push and push and push and push. And I wasn't realizing back then because I was saying, I'm doing my job. But there is a very fine line between where does the pushing, that doing your job finish, let's say, and the pushing start. There's a fine line. Have
Yeah.
you found it? I haven't. I don't know. I haven't yet. I'm still like, some days I'm like, am I pushing too much, or am I just, allowing the moment to just be and see?
To this question, what comes for me right now is that we cannot actually say at the moment.
Yeah.
We can say from a little distance, like
Yeah.
maybe a couple of hours later or a couple of days later, you can look back and say, I actually pushed myself too much because in fact I needed to rest or I needed to take a step back and digest what was going on. And instead I was pushing myself. But I think that while we are in this process, we cannot have this objective. It's never objective view, but we need a little distance. And even we can use some practices like the stepping into the body or into the energy of the silent observer or the higher self, whatever methodology our viewers are using, because there are many approaches to mindfulness and to self-awareness. I honestly believe that when we are in action, when we are in pain, when we are amidst the challenge, even if it's a positive challenge, trying to get better, trying to expand, we, how to say, we always strive to do things better because it is our calling. I wouldn't use the word duty, but it's our calling to grow and to expand in the things we do, in the depth of our feeling or sensations or sensitivity to a situation. So we're not talking about stopping to do that. We're talking about not leaving someone else's model or not living our very unrealistic model of how things should be. So this is what I feel, that while we are in this taking action, it's not possible to have a different perspective. And that's why it's good to make pauses, to stop,
Yes.
look back, look sideways and see what is actually going on. Sometimes it's good to compare, but not in the sense of, am I doing better or worse? It's about how others are doing it. Does it work for them? Is there something that I can take for myself? Or can I see it from a more global perspective and observe the whole process and the whole dynamics and then draw some conclusions for myself? What do you think?
Well, there's a truth in everything. For example, the more you can observe yourself and see maybe a drop in energy, you can say, okay, there's something going on here. Maybe I need to take a rest. Let's say in the soul map, for example, there are some energies that can be in constant move and not get tired, but there are other energies where they need to slow down. It's the same, I think, in human design. There is a lot of things that maybe, or you can find out for yourself. And what else did they want to say? I forgot it. Anyway, it doesn't probably matter. But I think that the awareness, what I've seen in me in years, is the awareness that maybe my energy is a little bit off right now. So, okay, maybe I need to stop, or maybe I need to rest, or maybe I need to start doing something else to I don't know, to raise my vibration, or to go out for a walk and get some fresh air, some different perspective. Because I find myself sometimes being in front of the computer screen and say, okay, I need to download an idea, and the idea doesn't come. And the minute, you're in the shower, the idea comes. It's, that's how it works. But if I push and push and push there, it's not going to work. And sometimes also what I find very helpful is for other people to, like, if I haven't noticed it myself, maybe there's a friend or my husband who say, maybe take a break now, like, haven't you worked enough? Like, go a little bit out. And it's like the universe is talking to me because I'm not listening. What do you think?
Yes, all this very valid and very true. And something that came up for me while I was listening to is we usually, not usually, but often we mirror each other. So when we're not able to see ourselves, maybe it's good to take a moment and look around and see what do we witness. I very often see someone else doing what I do, and it's easier for me to spot the same trend in them, and I say, but actually I've been doing the same. So it's interesting to try to practice different approaches. As you said, check your personality type, check your human design, check your soul map energies or astrology. Some people believe in one or another. Some people are against one or another. There is no one true thing, as you said. There are so many valid possibilities and valid approaches. The point is to be curious, exploring who you are, because this is a continuous journey. We always discover more and new things about ourselves, and to see what works for you, what could be of support to you. And by saying that, I also want to say that I've seen people who so much rely on these external support things, they live by the forecast, the astrology forecast, or they live by what someone else has told them. And I remember, it was so funny. I remember a movie, I think it was Czech or Polish, that I watched maybe 40 years ago. And it was so funny. Someone produced the astrology map for a guy who was a clerk in a socialist enterprise. And someone gave him the wrong map, and he so believed in it. He followed it. He literally lived it 100%, and he made it come true because he believed it. But on the other hand, if we start doing that and don't follow our energies and totally leave our power into the hands of someone else, then things may go wrong and we may not even recognize that. This is also something that I've seen with people, and nothing against therapists. I have so many friends, classical psychotherapists. I know someone who's been working with the therapist for about 30 years, and this person is not able to make any single decision without consulting with their therapist. So learn to connect, or at least create the possibility that you may have the power within you, that you may find this space of trust to start trusting your own choices. This is not an easy process, not an easy thing to do if for years you have been giving your power away.
Yeah. What I'm picking up from you right now is maybe it's pushing yourself, okay, but the question is, who are you doing it for?
Yes.
Because like you said, I think at the beginning, are we doing it, I don't know, to impress our friends? Are we doing it to, I don't know, tell our father or our mother, look, I did it? It's like, what is the intention? And what is the real intention? And maybe there will be a lot of golden nuggets for you to discover, who am I doing it for? And really change or see things differently. What do you think?
This is a great exercise to try to see what is the drive behind one's action. And I suggest that it's also the question is bigger and it's more widely applicable also by looking at what is my sovereignty in everything that I do. Like we started talking about pushing ourselves, trying to be better, to be at the standards, at the level. It's about acknowledging that we are adopting maybe someone else's models, someone else's patterns. Maybe we want to follow a trend because this trend seems to produce results for other people. For instance, the last couple of months, I've been really focused in developing My school community is one of it. We developed together and we're growing together, and it's a beautiful place for growing into the mindset of abundance. And I've been consuming a lot of information from the top experts in the field, which without that, it's not possible actually to put something in place if you don't learn from the masters. And I have been having a lot of conversations, maybe about 15, 20 conversations a week with people who are succeeding, and they're succeeding in their different way. And what I see, there is something really interesting. Maybe half of the people I have met or participated and witnessed them talk about, there is a lot of praise going for those who grind, who push, who don't sleep. And young guys, 20 years old, 17, 20, 25 years old, succeeding, becoming millionaires at this early age, saying nothing else, push, work, wake up, start working, go to bed, and then get up and start working. And for some people, they may choose to start following that, but they abandon their own energy, because for some people this may work. Maybe they have this fountain, unlimited fountain of energy, and for them the body, the mind, the emotion will not get exhausted, but it wouldn't work for anybody.
Yeah, and maybe it wouldn't even work for them in the long term. And I think, what I've seen a lot of people, and there was a very interesting conversation back in a circle where I was part of, between the title of the conversation was Being and Doing. And my question was that, yes, you start doing and you start all this grinding, and then suddenly, maybe at some point, you realize that you also need to you also need to protect your energy. Maybe you need to meditate, maybe you need to sleep, because then you see that you're more productive or efficient. Or if you want to, let's say, take it to a different level, maybe in the level of manifestation, some people, to connect this with the mindset, the 80% and 20%, people who say you can spend 80% of your time raising your vibration in order to manifest, and then 20% just doing. So the truth is always where we are right now, because it did work for me, the grinding. The being also worked for me, but I was in a different, let's say, process back then. And there is not a right or wrong for people. Personally, for me, I think that too much doing and grinding will eventually exhaust them. But I don't see that it's something very wrong, in a way that, it's their journey now. And there will be a point where they will start adding processes or techniques or self-care tips to kind of, make it more holistic, if I can say that.
Yes, make it more balanced and make it more exactly. The point is like that many people are looking at these young guys and they just follow, looking at the surface level and not exploring the age, not exploring the conditions. When someone has a family to look after, of course, they cannot afford doing that, working 20 or 18 hours a day. But this might be really exciting for someone who has everything else taken care of them, and they can afford to focus short term and really do this work. The point is to always look at the success or failure stories and to try to map them across the personal situation, the personal environment, the personal stage of life or growth of the business, or even the personal skill development. Because everyone is such a complex combination of skills, knowledge, experience, inherited energies, inherited talents. Some people just have it in the blood to be entrepreneurs. For others, it comes after too much working, or sometimes it never comes. And I see people pushing themselves to become someone that is not just given to them. They might be advisors, they might be supporters, but they wouldn't be the leaders. And there's nothing wrong in that. It's about understanding what is true to ourselves, what is aligned with our values. This is a very big topic and very important. And what is aligned with the priorities or the inner feeling about where are we going towards. And this is the invitation, our invitation for you, our viewers, just to explore where is your inner guidance taking you. What is it that you feel about yourself? Maybe you're not really clear about any purpose or any direction or the sense of legacy. And all these words, they sound huge and grandiose, and maybe you could be even intimidated by them. Start simple. What brings you joy? What makes you happy when you wake up in the morning? What would make you wake up tomorrow excited about the day? And this could be an easy way for you to keep going and doing the things that you like to do. Some productivity masters would say that this is not the right thing, that you have to commit and stay fixated on your goals and targets and numbers. I think we have to be moderate in that, both in following what our nature talks to us, tells us where to go, as well as being connected with certain goals, business goals or personal goals, but nothing that is extreme would really work. There is always a way to bridge the things, to bridge the mind with the heart and with the intuition, with the gut. And of course, if we're spiritual people, if you are spiritual people, you would also know that there is something beyond the material world, and this quest of continuously looking for this purpose, for the meaning, for the higher idea of your message of the soul's intention. When you start bringing these things together, then somehow it starts feeling a little bit more together, more togetherness, more wholeness, more holistic.
Very true. And, there's nothing wrong with starting coping, let's say, processes, because you don't know where to start, how to start. So you can follow this advice. But when you see that maybe there is something not actually working for you the way it is, don't feel obliged that you need to keep the same process. Adjust it for yourself.
Yes. Yeah. And I could give the example with my communities. When I started 2 months ago, the community, I followed exactly the model of one of my mentors. And right during the first couple of days, I started adapting it because I saw that it wouldn't work for me. It wouldn't work for the people that I was gathering around me. It would work for someone who was a pure business coach selling particular software or using a very specific model, but it wouldn't work for the holistic approach and the leadership field, which is my focus, my direction. So, and this doesn't mean that his processes or their processes, because I followed several mentors, they don't work. They didn't work exactly. They were designed for me and for my community. Yes. It doesn't mean also that what I'm creating and designing would work for someone who is in my community. It's always about doing the inner work, and this is what we've been focusing with Despina for so many years. Find who you are, find what is truthful to you, and then start employing the tools, the skills, the models, the techniques, the approaches that would serve you. This makes things really hard because you cannot be sure who exactly to follow. Like personally, I have invested, I'm not going to say a number, in working with different business mentors and advisors to finally come to the place to start building and creating my own system. And I'm really grateful for all these experiences because they helped me realize what actually is truthful for me, even in the sense of knowing what is not right for me. This is still very precious knowledge.
Yeah, you're an innovator in your soul map, Iskra. Come on.
Yes, look, when you have someone to know your soul map, this is so much easier to get this reassurance. So, how would we wrap up this conversation today? Let's give maybe some practical tips or a general advice, because I know that people need reassurance. This work with the inner critical voices, it's very strong, and we see this daily, on a daily basis, in any communities, in any conversations, in person as well as online. What would be your suggestion to the people who
Mhm.
keep pushing and grinding and they don't find the satisfaction?
Yeah, I would say focus, not focus, embrace your mistakes and celebrate your mistakes, because we're very hard on ourselves when we make mistakes, and it is through the mistakes that we find things that we may not realize we need.
This is very powerful and a lot of wisdom, guys and gals. Late again and hear Despina and follow her advice. What I would tell you is learn to take pauses when you are in the expansion stage, when you are growing, when you're really productive and excited about what you do and you feel things are good. Still take a moment, make a pause and enjoy, savor it, celebrate it. When you're going down or you feel challenged or oppressed, maybe it's hard to breathe, hard to take your head off the computer or all the paper. Take a moment to breathe, to connect with yourself, and try to step into the shoes of someone else. Simply detach yourself from the situation and see how does it look like from a side. Maybe someone would see that there are reasons, there are achievements, there are reasons to celebrate, and I cannot see it because I'm so much pressured or stressed, pushing to do things, to finish things. Take moments to be with yourself and then come back, recharge, refresh your perspectives, refresh your senses, and the grinding, the hard work, we will always have moments. We're not the people to tell you you don't have to work hard. You do have to work hard when you're building something new, when you're inventing yourself or inventing a process or building a community or a business. But this has to be balanced with moments of joy and pause and self-care and peace. Thank you, everyone who was here with us today. Thank you, Despina.
You, Iskra.
And we will see each other in our next episode.